Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me to talk about my journey. As you say, yeah, I had a previous company before Immersify Education, so yeah, been through the ups and downs of starting and growing a company. So just to tell you a bit about Immersify Education, so I'm the founder and CEO, and we're basically an interactive educational delivery application, but we utilize augmented reality, AI, gamification, personalization, and expert content, and we combine this into a one-of-a-kind resource. So we're currently in further and higher education, and we're in dentistry and medical areas at the moment. And yeah, we're doing another fundraise to really scale into other academic areas. So just to give you a bit of a background of where Immersify Education came from, my previous business was in dental education. My background's in dentistry, business and law that I did at university, two separate quals. And yeah, hugely interested in the business world from a very young age. And yeah, I grew that company throughout the UK, my previous company. And what was happening was, as you do in any company, you look at profit and loss, look at how you can improve things. And we were losing money on developing educational resources for all our qualifications. And, the more I looked around, you were buying lots of books, and this was very focused on dental and medical quals. So the books are very expensive. But mainly all the pain points came from bridging that gap between that theory knowledge that you learn in the classroom and at home, and then actually going into a practical experience, so actually doing it in a clinic. And there's just a huge gap. When you go home, really what you do is you look on social media, for example, you look at YouTube, and it's just not standardized content. So we had a lot of students coming in with unstandardized content. And yeah, the books obviously very not engaging at all. So yeah, many problems, and it was costing us a lot of money to ask, lecturers, teachers to build educational resources when they're not taught to build educational resources, and they're taught to teach and to tutor. So yeah, the outputs, for the resources were very poor, and I wanted to improve that area. I'd seen augmented reality quite a while ago, probably 6 years ago, when it first it wasn't commercialized as such then, but I'd seen it and really wanted to include this into my own company, but I couldn't because there was nothing out there. So I decided to, after a lot of research and understanding the market a bit more in this area, I decided to exit that company and set up What Now, and invest my money in set up What Now is Immersify Education. So yeah, just a bit about, I suppose, the resource landscape. So we have very, textbooks which are disengaging, all the information is very dispersed across the internet. It's unreliable, unstandardized content. The PowerPoints are very repetitive, inconsistent, and it's very, very difficult for education institutions and also students to get their hands on very, concise, portable information. But ultimately, that again bridges that gap between theory and practical learning. So yeah, we are lowering costs for educational institutions, and we are helping to actually support academic grades as well. So a lot of our resources are being embedded into curriculums. So just a bit about where we've got to. So we've got 2 products in the market. We have a B2C product, which is complementary to our B2B. And this is over the last 12 months, we've signed corporate sponsorship agreements. So they sponsor our application on the App Store. We are used in 120 different countries. We're developing a social reach. We've got about 200,000 now on social reach. 5 stars on app reviews. We've got really, really good app reviews as well. And we base this B2C product on a subscription model, which we're converting in 2022. But at the moment, we're building a very, very large user base. Again, looking at the B2B products, so we've sold this and had pre-orders from universities. We piloted this across the UK and Europe, so France, Germany, and the Netherlands. We've already got international traction, working with some schools in India and the US. And again, we're just going through accreditation with some awarding bodies. And yeah, just been recognised. We have expert content writers as well that write all our content. So the good thing, instead of the content writers writing a full book, which they normally would, it takes them years, they can write chapters for us in weeks. And so this basically allows them to offer their expert content globally very, very quickly. So the traction for them is very much this. It's being able to be on a global platform, on a technology platform. So a bit about where we've been. So starting, I'd say, obviously research and other things happened before 2019, but we did a concept early 2019, and then we successfully piloted this in the UK and in Europe. And then December 2019, we raised and secured a funding round. And then May 2020, this is when we launched our B2C product. And this was trending number 3 on the Play Store. And then we secured further investment. We generated revenue with global sponsors in November 2020. January this year, we actually launched our B2B product. We've already sold that into quite big universities and had pre-orders already for our other modules, which aren't even finished yet. So yeah, successful trials and pilots already began really early in 2019. So we've been really making sure the technology is robust, making sure everything we're doing is, we're very student-led as a company. We work really closely with students, really closely with academics. And yeah, it's a collaborative thing, making sure that what we're building is very suitable for this generation of learners, but ultimately it's scalable, and it's absolutely, gonna hit the nail on the head in terms of what they need for resources. So how our technology, I suppose it's designed to scale. So we've got expansion, we've got limitless opportunities in terms of academic areas, which we're already currently working on. We've got a global reach already. We've been working very, very much on processes, and I'd highly recommend any team as you grow to really outline the processes in a business. So from a development process side to a marketing, from a sales, really try and get a good platform built before you start uploading loads and loads of information. I think, for us, for example, in a development, we've streamlined the content and the infrastructure from the tech very well, in terms of, it was taking us 6 months ago, 12 months ago, it's taken us 30 to 45 days to input content, and now it takes us under an hour. So because we've built the infrastructure, we've also built the process. So we have a publishing arm, which feeds into our development arm, and it's very, our asset arm. So it's very, we've worked really hard on that. Some of our revenue streams. So we've got our B2B subscription model, we do B2C subscription model, we've got global sponsors. We also open other doors up in the coming future to recruitment in terms of supporting our B2C subscription model, for students who are coming through and need to, secure different job opportunities. We're also looking at that. And also the data. The data's been absolutely key. There's still, AR and VR, and the areas we're working in are still quite new areas. So you can imagine the type of data we're collecting and how users are interacting with the technologies that we've embedded. The addressable market, we're in the EdTech market, so it's huge. For us, we're really looking at the key areas for academic areas that need practical resources. So for example, anywhere that brings more hands-on. So other areas we're working in now at the moment is like medicine and nursing, the areas that are very practical. Veterinary is another one we're just forming at the moment. So any areas that are very practical, they're the areas we're really targeting. So we've identified about 32 currently on our roadmap. So yeah, the market is a growing market as well with AR. It's growing significantly, plus being in between EdTech, software, etc. So other academic areas, as I just explained briefly, we are expanding into, and with that is an effect of additional academic areas gives us exponential growth. And that's sort of just an example of what that looks like in terms of our growth.
So, thoughts, observations, questions for Chloe? John, your hand went up fastest.
Okay, Chloe, now this is interesting. Where are you looking for the funding? Who are you approaching? Are you on any platforms, or are you going to any syndicates? How are you going about raising funding for your venture?
Yeah, so a mixture of things. So we're on a couple of different platforms. I obviously, because I've previously raised before, I have a few, contacts that I've already known previously and then got back in touch with. It could be that we were fundraising early and we're a bit too early for those investors, but actually I've re-engaged with them now, we're further on. And to be honest, not just the UK. So we're talking to a couple of investors in the UAE, US. We're definitely putting feelers out there for different investors, because we're currently raising 1.2 million. So, it does give us a bit of more of a reach in terms of that amount. A couple of places really, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next question or comment or observation? Raise your hand, wave at me, or jump in. I think you've silenced them big style, Chloe. I mean, certainly, I've heard you speak before quite a long time ago, and I can see the dramatic, different state, like you're in a different world now, aren't you? So how has that journey been for you personally?
I think, there's a lots and ups and downs in building a company and scaling it. I think we're at this next point now where, we've got a lot more team members on, the team's grown quite significantly. And, it's just making sure that, I think, having those key people in place, whether that, we have a board of directors, for example, that support strategic things, but we also have, sort of head of departments now, making sure we're setting those up. And I think just the infrastructure has just changed. So as you grow, especially fundraising and managing a business, when you're bringing on more customers, more sales, more products, it just changes. You think you'd be in a better position from being maybe pre-seed to seed and a Series A. You are, but ultimately the stress of fundraising doesn't change, and you end up having more to do. But not that said, I think the journey for me has been, you learn so much. Not every day is so different. I couldn't see myself doing anything else now. Like, I absolutely love just starting and growing companies, really, for me. But I think the team as well, just working with people every day that I love to work with is such a joy. And just building different things, and it's just been, it's great. Like, it is really great. I think when you look back of what we've achieved, I think that's what a lot of founders don't do, and I definitely don't do this, is look at actually what we've achieved so far. I'm always thinking next, I need to achieve the next thing, and you end up then, not really enjoying the process. And I think absolutely reflecting and enjoying the journey is, I think that's one of the things that you really need to do. So I'm trying to be better at enjoying every single day, rather than, the hard days and the good days.